Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark. I'm your host, Sallie, joined by my co-host, Katie. We're identical twin sisters. We invite you to join us as we investigate our similarities and differences in all things life has to offer. Hello, and welcome to Twin Study After Dark Study Break. It's me, Sallie, and today I have our guest. We have Cathy Nesbitt with us. She is a multi-award winning entrepreneur, environmental innovator, and health and wellness advocate. She is the founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters, Cathy's Sprouters, and Cathy's Laughter Yoga. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you, Sallie. Oh my gosh, I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. I want to tell you that the reason I originally wanted you on our podcast is because of the composting. My daughter has a fascination with worms. She is obsessed.
I love that.
So when we messaged, I was like, this is a sign, because the day before my daughter was like picking worms up and like giving them names, and I was like, I have to have her on the podcast. So I was like, it's a sign. She needs to be on the podcast. But for the viewers or the listeners out there, today Cathy invited me to her laughter yoga club. And it was just amazing. Honestly, the community that you've built, you can just tell they're so
Thank you.
comfortable with each other. It was so welcoming, and it felt like a no judgment zone at all. Like, it was so fun and a great way to start the day. Do you mind telling our listeners kind of how you got into laughter yoga and what that looks like?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for coming to my club. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. 4 years. Woo!
Oh, wow.
I know. Can you imagine? So it's okay. So we'll bounce around a bit. It's fine. It'll be a fun convo, folks.
Yes.
So my working title is Cathy Crawly Laughing Bean Queen. And I
I love
offer
it.
simple solutions for today's challenges. Worms for composting, in the house, worms in the house. How do you like me now? Sprouts for eating, grow your own, and laughter for overall health and wellness. It's the 22nd anniversary of my worm composting business.
Oh my gosh.
22 years.
Wow.
Yay.
That's amazing.
Thank you. It is. Yeah. It really is. I'm just like, wow, how did that happen? My baby grew up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto, and the landfill for the Greater Toronto Area closed in 2002. The landfill filled, and we started to export our garbage to the US. And I had a solution. I don't want to hang there because that's really sad. It makes me sad. And this is a positive, beautiful solution, right? Everyone managing their waste. I thought it was a no-brainer, but obviously it
Yeah.
is a bit of a brainer because not everyone's doing it yet.
Yes.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be on and talk about this, even though I joke a lot. Because I understand that I have a psych degree, and what I understand now is that people maybe were traumatized as children by worms. In the schoolyard or after a rainy day, a sibling or a fishing incident, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were traumatized as a child, you're not looking to that as an adult as a solution.
Yeah.
So there I wasn't paying attention to what my customers wanted. They didn't want worms, and I knew they needed them, but people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't listening. I was like, no, it's important. And I took on school workshops because I realized this is going to be hard. Nobody wants what I have.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really a journey, and I hope people listening are paying attention. Like, not that they should have a worm business, but what is it that really something that bugs you, or you have a solution to an everyday thing, and it's a no brainer for you. Then that means maybe that's what was given for you to do.
Exactly. Oh, I love that you say that, because yeah, it does feel like an outside the box thing. Like I said, my daughter loves worms. Like, this would be right up her alley. Like, she would love to have a compost in our home. But what does it look like? What does your business teach people about composting with worms?
Yeah, so it is in the house. It's in a container. The worms are not free range.
Okay.
Uh, say we'll use a Rubbermaid tote for the do-it-yourselfers.
Okay.
All you need, so it's a carbon nitrogen mix, just like composting done outside, except this is done inside. And the carbon, the bedding is shredded paper,
Okay.
cardboard, leaves, straw, drink trays from the coffee shop, egg cartons. All of that material is the bedding. That's the carbon. The nitrogen is your food scraps from the kitchen. So your potato peels, coffee grounds, tea bags, banana peels, your peels.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So you mix those together. I mean, and it's a process. You don't just throw them in. You manage it. It's moist. The worms are about 90% humidity, so it needs to be like the consistency of a wrung out sponge.
Okay.
You add in crushed eggshells to balance the pH or the acidity. And there's lots of instructions online. Like I'm just going fast here, just
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Of
the
course.
sake of the show. Yeah, so you have a special worm, they're red wiggler worms, and they stay in the container because they're eating half their weight per day. They're the original alchemists. They turn our garbage, what we call garbage, into black gold for gardening, so we can grow more nutrient-rich food.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Your
That
daughter's
is
ahead of her
awesome.
time.
No, I mean, I am so excited because I feel like we need to start this in our home. And I think that she'd really love it. And also, just like you said, it can help in our gardening as well. So it's a win-win there.
Yes, if
Oh,
we have compost and really nutrient-rich soil, we don't need chemicals.
yes. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So for people that are looking into maybe starting this in their own home, can they find all this information on your website? Or is this
Yes.
something, yeah.
Yes, there's lots of how-to videos and news
Okay.
articles and all of that. I'm in Canada. I don't ship worms out of Canada.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
there are lots of suppliers. I would suggest that people buy worms from a reputable dealer rather
Okay.
than just on Kijiji or, one of the marketplace sites. Um, there's 800 to 1,000 red wiggler worms in a pound. They're small,
Oh,
they're
wow.
teeny worms. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, like they're cute little red wigglers. They're
They're
not
not like the big ones that we
the
see after rain.
right, or the bait worms. They're not the honkin' bait worms.
Okay. Okay.
That are like, oh, those are creepy. No, these are cute, and they have 5 hearts each. Sally,
Oh,
they're magnificent. A group of them is called a squirm of worms. 800 to 1,000 worms in a pound. That 5 hearts each, 4 to 5,000 hearts in a pound of worms. Ah,
wow.
like so
That's,
great, right? It's
yeah.
loving. And I do a lot of school workshops, and sometimes the kids will say, "How come they have so many hearts?" And I say, well, of course, it's just a story that I made up, but here's what I tell them. Millions of years ago, when they were handing out body parts, they were left with a mountain of hearts. And they're like, what are we going to do with all those hearts? And they said, well, the worms are going to be needed later on, millions of years from now, and people are going to be afraid of them. So maybe we should give the extra hearts to them.
Oh, I love that. That's such a cute story.
Words have energy. Yeah.
Yes. I was gonna say, I think that you need to write a children's book with that tale right there.
Right? I know. Thank you. I think I will.
Oh,
Or you can too. Somebody should.
yeah. Oh, have you always been into the environment and composting and trying to create a healthier space, or did this happen later in life for you, or what kind of got you started on this journey?
That's a good question. So I grew up in Toronto. It's kind of a concrete place, but my parents did take me camping.
Okay.
So into nature, and we were outside. It was, of course, a different time before technology when we were outside rather than in. So not really, not intentionally about the environment. And same with even starting my business. This was a whole selfish thing. I grew up in Toronto, moved out of the city and bought a house and couldn't wait to start composting and gardening. So I
Okay.
had a little house, a little garden, and I used to work in the city. Like most people, when you move out of a big city, you still have to travel to the city for work. So
Yeah.
I would go on the commuter train, take my ice cream bucket and collect my coworkers' lunchroom scraps. Can you imagine?
Oh my
It was for
gosh.
the planet, but I wasn't. I wanted more, like if you compost, the more you put in, the more you get out, the better your garden grows naturally.
Yeah.
So it was
Okay.
selfish, but it was good for the planet too. Yes.
Well, I feel like that's something that like our house, I'm interested in starting. When you have like say that you got your I don't want to say bucket, but your worm environment. Um is it easy to maintain? Is it pretty easy to maintain, or is that something that takes kind of everyday care?
Yeah, it's the gamut. Some people want to be micromanaged, and I say to those people, don't.
Mhm.
Because if we look to nature, nobody's looking after the worms in nature, and they're doing fine.
Yeah.
So it's really low maintenance. They're the most wonderful pet because they're quiet. They turn your garbage into gold. They really they take the stink out of garbage when we manage our organic matter.
Okay.
That stuff doesn't have to be hauled around if we don't live on a farm or have space. Because I want to ask you about your farm, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's a dream. It's a dream.
If you don't live in a farm, or you live like in an urban like Toronto, or New York, you live in a pretty concrete place. This is a way for, imagine restaurants or universities, anywhere where they're creating a lot of scraps. If they
Yeah.
turn that in, instead of paying a whack of dough to ship it away, what are we doing? There's no way. There's one
Yeah.
planet. So if we manage all of these things, we can have a huge impact. And then
Oh,
when we
yeah.
tackle one area, then we go, wow, that feels really good. And we've slowed down because we're not on our technology when we're chopping scraps for the worms. There's so many things that I've learned so much from the worms. And here's
Oh.
something that might sound gross when I say it, but I don't mean it literally. But if we ate like worms, we'd poop like worms, and we wouldn't need to take medication if we're constipated, or we're, the other opposite end. We're running there. Um, we wouldn't be sitting around. We'd get in, do our business, and get on with our day.
Mhm.
Because we'd be fiber rich, and that's what I'm saying. I don't mean we're going to eat paper and rotting food.
I love it though because it makes you feel connected to the earth too, and it feels very like grounding as well. From composting and Cathy's Crawly composters to the Sprouts, is Sprouts a different program that you offer?
Yeah, so again, part of my journey, pay attention
Mhm.
to the signs, folks, because they're there. Every day you get messages, but we're just like, no, no, not now. Or we just discount it, right? We're bombarded by information. So my very first event in 2002, exhibiting with my worms, a gardening event, there was a man there with a sprouter, and I call it the super simple sprouter. It looked like a spaceship, a plastic, maybe the size of a dinner plate. Plastic's
Okay.
got so it's a little micro climate, and it's
Okay.
a sprouter. It's got a stainless steel mesh, and the thing was flying off the shelf, and it looks like a spaceship. And when there was a break in the audience, I was like, "What is that thing? Why are people buying that and not my worms? Probably not." And that's my story now. That's probably wasn't like that. It was like, "What's your secret? Why? What do you?" And he told me all about sprouts. This man was 72. Sallie, he's 95. In June, he turned 95. Come
Wow.
on. Professional ballroom dancer.
Oh, that's so
Clue
cool.
number 2, right? Good food, movement, dancing, and he also drank good water, alkalized
Okay.
water. Okay. So the sprouts, so I was like, I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting. And I'm 39, so I was 39 at the time. I'm 61 now.
Okay.
And I've been eating sprouts for 22 years.
Wow.
Right? And so sprouts, just quickly, because I know we want to get onto the laughter, but the
Oh,
sprouts,
it's okay.
they're nature's superfood. As the seed or the bean germinates, everything's there. It has fiber, proteins, minerals. They're hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes than raw vegetables.
Wow.
Wow. And as
Yeah.
soon as we cook them, there's no more. So when
Okay.
we're young, we eat what we want. We think we're infallible, and we kind of are. But as we start to age, we might get digestive issues. And it's
Mm.
getting younger and younger because our food is broken.
Yeah.
So if we're not eating sprouts or raw vegetables, we might get digestive issues. And we go to the doctor, and the doctor says, here's a prescription for enzyme pills. instead of taking a pill. Because there's no magic bullet, folks. We got to look after our temple, and food is our medicine. Sprouts were 2002 was a huge year, right? I started my worm business.
Yes.
My first event, I met this man. I'm like, he was 72, and he looked great, high energy, like fit ballroom dancer, and a gentleman, right, in his crisp white shirt, his black vest. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I didn't know. I don't come from an entrepreneurial background, so I wasn't used to seeing like an old person working.
Yeah.
And working those shows, it's hard. You put your heart on your sleeve, you put all your wares out, and you stand there hoping people are going to stop by first of all, and then
of course,
and then buy something or ask questions or something, and not just the question be, can I have a discount?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you work hard so I was like, wow, look at that guy. And so I said, I was thinking, I want to be like you at 72, except I'd have to be a man and taller and all that stuff.
But you're like, he looks healthy. I want whatever he has.
And I don't need to know. Some people need all the data before they take a decision. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? I want what you have. So he told me, start your day with 2 tablespoons of sprouted mung beans every day for the enzymes, first thing. So it's like, oh, all right. 10 years. I was eating sprouts first thing. Boom, Tony said. And in 2012, I saw him at an event and he said, hey, because every time I saw him exhibiting, I was like, oh, you should get this thing. And I'm sure people thought, I was I was paid to,
yeah.
And he said, hey, you should sell the sprouter with your worm business.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? My goodness. Good idea. I love that. You do what you sell, what you love.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So in 2012, I started selling them. So it was really confusing. My booth was totally confusing. Marketing is not me, but here I am 22 years in doing something right. Yeah. So I would have my worms on one part and I had the sprouter on the other side, and it looks, it's a little spaceship. So people were like, is that the worm bin? And I'd like, oh, you want to try some samples? So it was confusing, but yeah. So I started selling, and a woman said to me, so 10 years, I only ate mung beans. That's all I sprouted.
Okay.
Because it was my health plan, right? This was my multivitamin. Look at that guy, 72. I'm doing what he's doing.
Yes.
That was what I was thinking. Okay. This woman came up to me and she said, oh, what if you don't like mung beans? Or is there anything else that you can sprout? And I said, I don't know. I hadn't sprouted it. I don't know. Yeah. And she said, don't you get sick of mung beans? And I said, well, would you get sick of having tons of energy and feeling great?
Yeah.
Maybe, right? People love I'm so tired. People love their story. What if you could say, oh, I'm so high. And people are like, oh, you have so much energy. I wouldn't want to have that much energy. So eat less.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to try. I want to try.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Wonderful.
I'll get your address.
Oh my gosh. No, I was, when you were talking about like stomach issues, I actually went to like a psychic earlier this year, and she was like, you need to watch out for your gut health or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I think I've always probably had problems with my gut health, and I just am so used to it, honestly. So this year I've been trying to like maintain it and like get into probiotics and all that stuff. But I'm like, the sprouts, I need to try the sprouts.
It matters. Yes. It's not normal. Pain is not normal. Bloating is not normal. Yes. Cramping, inflammation, not normal. But we live with it, right? We just are
and so used to it. Yeah, so used to it.
So used to it. And maybe we'd take Tylenol or some things, but those are just Band-Aids, and those aren't getting to the root cause. Those are going to keep on. Then we're just going to keep paying the pharmaceutical companies.
I love that you're sharing your knowledge with everyone who's listening, but me too. Like, I feel so lucky to have your knowledge. So thank you so much for sharing it. So how'd this go into the laughter? Did the laughter come third?
It did. Okay. 2012. So my life goes in 10-year chunks, it seems.
I love that. Chapters.
Yeah, 10-year chapters. That's it. So 2012, many people, like, it's indoor composting. Really, a lot of people said, ew, worms in the house. I'm
Yeah.
animated. You might see I'm high energy. I'm animated. I move around a lot. So I'm probably fun to watch at a show or something. Um, and people miss the part that it's in the house. And they might say, well, what do you do in the winter? And I say, no, it's indoor year round. Like imagine in the summer when it's too hot outside. Yeah, they
Yeah.
want to be comfortable like us.
Yeah.
And then people are like, ew, worms in the house. So 2012, one more person said, ew, worms in the house. And I heard it. I felt it. I questioned everything. Oh my gosh, Sallie, I was going to doff my important mission. I was like,
Yeah.
universe, I don't know what to do. 10 years. I don't know. What do you want from me? I don't know how to do this. And the
Yeah.
very next day I was introduced to laughter yoga.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Pay
Yeah,
attention,
meant to
folks.
be. Yeah.
Right? So this is my path. What's your path? What are the things that get dropped in your way
Yes.
and you notice, right? Like so it was a business meeting. The woman gave, and I don't even do yoga. I'm sure that yoga is a fine thing, but I just jumped
Yeah.
to the fun yoga. Um,
Hey, I think that's my style too.
uh, yeah, and this woman did this 5-minute introduction, laughter yoga. I was like, oh, what? And it got my interest. And that
Hmm.
same week at a networking event, 2012, oh, hundreds of people. The very first woman I met was a laughter yoga teacher.
Wow.
And I said to her, like twice in 1 week, I said, oh my gosh, laughter yoga is mainstream. And she
Yeah.
said, no, it isn't.
No.
Yeah. And we trooped around that night, and everybody we met, I said, have you heard of laughter yoga? Have you? Have you? And nobody had. So I was like, oh, worms first and now laughter? Come on. Like, what is happening here? I don't know what to do. And so what I realized, before 2020, I thought I was a juggler, and I will talk about what laughter is in a sec. Like,
Yeah.
what do you need? I have worms, sprouts, laughter. I kind of thought they were separate. I
Yeah.
thought they were separate things. And then 2020, right? But I realized, wow, all the things that I have, the worms for indoor composting, the sprouts for eating, the laughter, are three beautiful, sustainable things. Maybe not for
Hmm.
somebody's business. This is my life. This is what I do every day. I mean, I have worms in my house. I eat sprouts every day and I laugh every day. I mean, this is my life. There's
Yeah.
no work-life separation. It's life. It's
Yeah.
living life, and it's joy filled because it's just, I'm not sure where we got the idea that we needed to have work and life like separate. How could they be separate?
Yeah. I
If
love that you say that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that you say that. And I feel like that's so it just is such a blessing too that you're sharing that with everybody, like the way that you're doing life and the things that help you feel healthy and like just well, because I think it is hard to kind of manage work and life sometimes. And it's beautiful that you got the formula down. You just made it all one and it
well, I've been
works
a
for
work in
you.
progress though. I'm 61,
Yeah.
remember?
I mean, I'm 35 and I feel like my best years are still yet to come. So I'm really
Absolutely.
excited. I feel like at 35, I finally kind of stopped caring what other people thought so much that I could
That's
be
it.
like more authentically myself. So I think the older that you get, probably the more you know yourself and the more you're willing to put out there too.
And the less you give a crap.
Yes,
The less you
totally.
literally,
Yeah.
the less you like, you're like, there's no time for that because, the time thing,
Yeah. And you
it is
trust
getting
your heart.
closer.
You trust your heart and your signs. Like you got the 2 signs in a row for laughter. It's like, how many signs do you need before you're like, oh, this is important?
So laughter yoga is not about fancy pants or poses. It's not jokes or comedy. We're not against that. It's just that jokes they're cultural sometimes, right? They're about two people.
Yes.
And for those two people, it's not funny. So it's not funny for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, or maybe they're, whatever, dirty jokes or whatever, again, not everyone's taste. So laughter yoga started in 1995 by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria, and his goal is world peace. So there are clubs in over 120 countries now, thousands of clubs, just similar to what we did today. They were in person, and there is a lot of in-person clubs. And I think that it started in 1995 so we could be ready for 2020 when the world shut
Mm.
down. There was very, very few opportunities to laugh online before 2020. And then we all, because we kind of like as laughter professionals felt that it needed to be in person. So we do high fives, like it's just silly little games. And we could see each other, eye contact, and just feel each other's energy. And we needed to jump online. So everybody, the whole world pivoted. And we need this more than ever. So although I really want people to care about the planet and get worms and have worms in their house and school and business everywhere, if you're in a mental crisis, that's where you're living. You can't even think about your neighbor.
Yeah.
So now I get people laughing, get them out of stress, get them at least for the moment. I have people that come to my club. It's very diverse. I have some people that come every week. Some people are in a very challenging place in their life. They're very sad. There's a woman, she calls me sometimes. We have, chats, and she said, "Thank you for your laughter club. Some days are really hard.
Yeah.
And I come anyway."
Oh, I love that.
I know I'm going to cry because it's just like, that's what I want. I just want to have a safe space. That's why I don't record my sessions. I just want people to come and play. I have community living come. I have a long-term care facility come. They don't have their camera on. Sometimes when school's in, I have classrooms come.
Oh.
I have the whole age range. It's magnificent. It's so beautiful. I had a professor come from University of Maryland. What was her title? What was her department? Human geographer.
Okay.
Wow. I
Wow.
was like, ooh, because I Google people when they sign up for my club. I'm like, oh, who's that
You're like,
person?
who are you?
Yeah, and I look them up on LinkedIn and stuff, and I connect because then we have a deeper connection when they come to club, and I know who they are. So after Laughter Club, when the professor came, I sent her a note, "Thank you for coming, and notice how you feel." And she said, "That was so great. Can I bring my PhD students?"
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Right? Because
Yeah.
everybody needs this right now. With a psych degree, I keep wondering who needs this the most, which group? And there's
Yeah.
no answer for that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are struggling out there right now. And when I was in your class, first of all, I have 4 kids. I was literally just like, I should have told them to come join because I had my husband upstairs so that they'd stay quiet. But I was like, they would love that. Like they would
Right?
have the best time doing it. We could do it as a family. I loved
Yes.
that. But second of all, I'm just going to be honest and candid because that's the point of the podcast. We're trying to just like erase the shame of having human emotions. But for the past 2 weeks, I've been in a pretty dark sadness. And I think it's just a little bit of burnout. But today I woke up, my eyes were all puffy because I had like a rough day yesterday. And your class truly, it really did turn my day into a good day. But it really was a positive way to start the day. And my day is better because of it. So, and when I say I was in a dark place, like pretty dark for me. I had a therapy session yesterday about it. So I'm so thankful. And you say things happen on purpose. The timing of even your interview and then me like rescheduling to go to your laugh class today, I was like, maybe it was meant to be. Like maybe I needed it. So I thank you for doing that. And I know for a fact it makes a difference because it did in my day today.
Wow. Ooh, thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
vulnerable. That's really good. I love that. Thank you, Sally. That helps somebody listening.
Oh no, thank you
That
for doing
helps
what you're
somebody.
doing.
That helps somebody, you sharing that, because really sometimes I think people look at me and they're like, "Oh, look at you." It's like, no, are you kidding? I'm 61 now. No, it wasn't always this way, for sure not. And that's what the gift that I want to give to people is, you don't have to struggle. You don't have to wait to have the midlife crisis. Why? What are these silly expressions? Live your life every day. If we live life in joy, it's our birthright. Then we don't have regrets at the end. Don't wait till the end, folks. My husband and I, Rick and I, we traveled. We quit our jobs. We did everything at 27, and we traveled for 13 months in Africa and Asia.
Oh my gosh.
And this is 1989, 90, and people were like, the accountant of the company that I was working at said, "These are your prime earning years. You're never going to earn this money back." I was like,
Yeah.
huh? What? What kind of thinking is that? What? It's
Yeah.
about money. You can't eat money. You can't experience money. Like, what the heck? I really, and our friends, it was during the interest rates were doubling. Like, they were just like going up every day. And our friends were all house buying age, and everyone was freaking out. And they're like, if you go traveling now, you're never going to get a house. I mean, say it sounds like today's time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
That issue never goes away, folks.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't even want concrete roots. I didn't want a house. I was like, I want to go live my life. I want to go have an experience. And that shaped the woman I became. That
Yeah.
shaped the person, right? 27, I saw things that people never see in their whole life. Like
Mm-hmm.
stuff that it's like, holy crap, it can be harsh out there. Things are
Yeah.
going on. The world is, wow, I'm so grateful I live where I live. We're
Mm-hmm.
lucky. We bitch a
Yeah.
lot. We complain about things, but they're first world problems. Believe me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Did you always have an easy time like listening to your intuition and kind of following your paths because they all are kind of off the beaten path, not typical for somebody to go into. Did you always have an easy time kind of listening to that intuition or did you have to learn it over time?
Hmm. Oh, that's a really good question. That's really good. No, I was a people pleaser and
Mm-hmm.
I did what I was told. I didn't rock the boat. I was a good girl, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, all the things that, we're supposed to do. Um, and my stepfather died when I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed my life. I loved my stepfather. I loved him so much, and he died. And I don't know why I connected his death. So I was 21. He was only
Yeah.
38. He was a young man. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and that changed everything for me. For some reason, that was one of the signs for me, I guess. One of the
Yeah.
pivotal moments in my life when I connected his death with work. And I don't know why. He loved his work, so I don't know why I connected that, but I'm glad I did. And I said, we're at work a lot. We spend a lot more time at work than we do with our family.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy every job I have. I'm never going to stay in a job that doesn't serve me. I said that,
I
and I
love
never
that.
did. I was an
Wow.
office worker. I was a secretary. I was a secretary for 20 years. And it took me that long to realize that I was really an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? So for the people pleasers out there, stop it.
Yeah.
Learn
That's a
earlier
lot
than
of people
later.
need to hear that.
I mean, we need to want what we want. We need to really know what it is that we want. Like when people are like, well, what do you want? If you say, I don't know, it's time to get out your notepad and write down a list. And it's serious because it's your freaking life.
That's a great point. I think I've heard maybe Oprah say that where she said the difference between people who succeed and don't succeed is the people who succeed knew what they wanted. And most of us, we just kind of don't exactly know, or we don't, like you say, we don't write it down, we don't actually say it aloud. So that's a great piece of advice for anyone who was looking into like maybe changing careers or following their intuition on what they want to do, even if it seems off the beaten path.
Yeah, do it. Like, I think sometimes parents have great intentions. Of course they do. You're a parent of four.
But I'm relatively new at it.
I think sometimes parents didn't get opportunities, so they want those opportunities for their kids,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And so they impose those things that they didn't get to do on their children. Like, oh, I'm sure you'll really love ballet or something, because I always wanted to be a ballerina, but I wasn't able to go because I had to get a job and work or whatever. I was helping
Yeah.
my parents, whatever it is, whatever the story. And you don't even like dance. You're like, no, I want to play drums.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or something totally different. And so I think we need to really look in, because we came here for something. We
Mhm.
need to find what that is. This is the most beautiful time to be on this planet. Somehow we're destroying our mother, and we really need to take action. It's really serious. It's women that are mostly fighting the fight for climate change and for taking action.
Yeah.
Because the structure is so intertwined, right? You look at it, at least in Canada, the teacher's pension is so, I mean, it's fossil fuels, it's all the all the horrible things that we ought not be investing in anymore. How do you
Mm-hmm.
divest from that? Now all those teachers, like, that's their pension. They're not going to go say, yeah, we better go for right? Like, how can
Yeah.
they? That's their life. That's their So there's so many areas that we just need to talk about all these things and lay it out. It's going to be uncomfortable, but if we don't have the uncomfortable, talk about the elephant in the room, it's going to come and stomp us.
That's super important work that you're doing because I think a lot of people, yeah, don't feel comfortable talking about things that make others feel maybe uncomfortable or unsafe. Well, what's your favorite part about your life path and all the Cathy's composters and sprouts and laughter or yoga laughter?
It's the variety. It's I need variety. I crave variety, and I just love that I'm so open to experiences. I say
Yeah.
yes to life. What's my favorite part? I love it all. I really, really love the laughter part. I really, really love the laughter part.
Okay.
Um, because it's such a simple tool,
Mm-hmm.
and laughter is the best medicine. We get to be in charge of our own pharma when we're laughing. We're secreting the love drugs versus cortisol and adrenaline. Laughter is the opposite of stress. So right in this time that we're living in, I said it's the best time it is because we have all
Yeah.
this knowledge. Knowledge is only information unless we take action. So action is
Mm-hmm.
required when we learn something. And I think that's the beauty is we're now in this time that we're learning how we can care for ourselves. We're not taught in school. Tapping, these simple
Yeah.
laughing, deep breathing, like your mind's spinning out. Okay, if you take a few slow, deep breaths, that's going to slow down your mind. So your thoughts are going to slow down.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
No, I loved in the class when you did the tapping and then you explained what it helped in your body. Do you mind explaining what you do with the spoon? You said every day.
Yeah. Yeah, spoon. So happen to have my spoon right here
Awesome.
from this morning.
Awesome.
This is the one from my headboard. It's true. So just a spoon from just a spoon from the kitchen cupboard or a cabinet, whatever you call it, drawer, um, and a stainless steel. Yeah, is that what you call it? Stainless steel, and it's stainless steel because a magnet will stick to it. So you take a
Okay.
magnet off the fridge, and all you do, what the spoon will do, you spoon your feet. So you just go. You can do figure eights are always great to do, or you can just go kind of up and down. What that does, it grounds you.
Okay.
It gets you grounded. So everything's energy, and if everything's energy, as soon as we started wearing shoes, we got disconnected from the Earth's energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't discharge. And if everything's energy, and it is, if it's spinning at a higher frequency, then we feel better. If it's spinning faster, it's higher vibration. If it's slow, like when you were having not such a great week, you
Yeah.
probably were low energy and just moving slower, just your whole
Yeah.
body, right?
Yeah.
Something. So spooning, it's called spooning, your foot gets you grounded, and that corrects the polarities. So it
Okay.
draws your energy down and can get toxins out of your body. It just helps. So I do that before I go to sleep at night. I spoon my feet, both feet. Yeah, just to and I earth in the morning. So that's another tip is just going out, standing on the grass barefoot.
Okay.
If you have a dog and you don't want to be walking barefoot, that's fine, or thistles.
No,
Like,
we're
just,
barefoot a lot.
yeah, being barefoot, that's the most healing thing. It reduces inflammation. Again, the toxins come out. We get connected to the energy, so we actually get energy from the earth. It's really a simple thing. Again, these things we're not taught.
Like I listen to like a lot of astrologers and stuff, and they talk about weeks where you need to really try to stay grounded and go out and have like ground yourself basically. And like I kind of always imagine it like laying in grass or something. I'm like, how do I
Hmm.
do this? But when you talked about the spooning, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so helpful for people that like, I don't know, live in cities and aren't gonna like go outside their door and walk barefoot or
Or they're
something like that.
bedridden,
Yes, of course. Yeah.
right? They
That's a
can't get
great
out. They're
point.
in a wheelchair or something, right? Anyone can do it. Everyone has a
Yes.
stainless steel spoon. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And the
Thank you
ice
for sharing
pack,
that.
and the ice pack
Oh,
too.
yes.
Yeah, so cold plunging is all the rage. I'm not there yet. I like heat. But yeah, you can get your ice pack, just the small one that you would put in your weekend cooler, and you just put it right on your neck, and then you breathe. Do nice deep breaths while it's sitting on your neck. It's right on your vagus nerve. So this is the wandering nerve. It travels through the whole body and it governs joy. If
Oh my,
your vagus nerve is out of whack, then you're in stress. You're not in rest and digest. So that just kind of cools the fire. And then you
okay.
just move it to the other side, 15 seconds on each. So these are really short little life hacks that you can
Yes.
do, like the tapping. Imagine tapping on those 4 spots. Every day I do that, barefoot,
Okay.
spooning your foot, laughing.
I
Simple
love that.
things,
Oh my
but
gosh.
they're a
And such,
practice.
I just have one last question because you seem just like you have the most positive outlook and very optimistic. When you get in like a dark place, what do you do that kind of helps you alleviate that funk? Is it just staying consistent with the daily routine that you have made for yourself?
Yeah, definitely the consistency. We need to know that self-care is healthcare. We
Mm-hmm.
have to put ourselves first. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope you hear this with 4 kids. You need to put yourself first. You need
Mm-hmm.
to take time because otherwise you burn out and you're no good to anyone. You know, someone said, I can't remember who it was that said it. You could take my job, my house, my wife, you could take my car, and I would still have my health. If you took
Yeah.
my health, I would lose everything.
Yeah.
So you lose everything anyway.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
true.
yeah, so what do I do? And of course, things happen. Of course, I'm human. Of course, things happen. And I get news or I get stress. But I notice now I'm much more resilient because I'm aware. I'm more attuned to my body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more aware of, oh, I'm getting stressed. Or if I hear something that I find disturbing, I'm like, ooh, I'm not breathing deep enough. I'll go
Yeah.
outside, I'll earth, I'll take my shoe, like I'm always barefoot, so I don't have to take my shoes off, but I'll go outside, I'll earth, I'll go for a walk. Because we need to remove ourselves when we're feeling, we get in that funk. We need to get out of the environment.
Yeah.
We need to change something, which changes then everything.
Oh, I love that. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we say goodbye today? Like anything you have coming up or where they can find you if they want to look you up?
Yeah, well, I'd love to invite them to my Free Tuesday Club for sure. It's
Definitely
9,
everyone listening should check it out. It was really
yeah,
cute. It was
9:30
awesome.
a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. And I'm a laughter yoga teacher as well. I have ongoing going trainings in person and online. It's 2 days, super fun. And you learn it and you're able to lead laughter if that's what you choose, like as a side gig or even as a full-time business, because we need more laughter more than ever. You can go long-term care, you can laugh in schools, you can laugh with cancer patients, in dialysis, like any of the medical professions, there's laughter that can be there. Or if people just want to learn this for themselves, you don't even have to do anything with it. Um, yeah, so I would encourage people to think about certainly learning it, like by attending a club. And then if they
Okay.
want to take the training, like it's a wonderful way. You can get the money back from the training in 2 paid gigs.
So they can find your laughter club information and your training courses on your website. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes, the
Or do you
website
find
is
that some
everything. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, I'll make sure I'll link it in our bio for our podcast for today's episode so that people can find you.
I just want to say thank you, Sally. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you today. I'm so happy. I really enjoyed this. I hope the listeners were writing down notes because there was a lot for a wonderful life.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. No, you're such an inspiration. I feel like you are doing it right. And I have a lot of notes that I can go home and like implement right away that will help me feel like more in control, more grounded, and things that to pass on to our kids. So next time I talk to you, I hope that you can ask me, how are your worms doing? And I can tell you, oh, it's good. We got started. Thank you for wanting to be on the podcast. I'm so thankful for you. And thank you for the class.
Well, come back. I hope you come back and bring your kids.
Yes, I know. Now I know. Tuesdays at 9:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully Katie can join us once.
Yes, I know. I'm going to make her. It's been such a pleasure talking with you, and I definitely hope to keep in touch. And yeah, thank you for coming on and letting our listeners listen to your knowledge.
Thank you, Sallie. Bye for now.
Bye. Hi, everyone. It's Sallie. We're going to leave our story there for today and pick up next week on Twin Study After Dark. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'll meet again next week for more Twin Studies. Bye.